Welcome to the GameChanger 00100 show. I'm your host, GameChanger. Okay. So, I've come to realize, and by realize, I mean 20 seconds ago, that box is the new game. Box is for women what game is for men. It's a way to feel validated within your sexuality. Apparently, Black men need this validation within their sexuality more than anything. And I read in Tom Burrell's Outliers that we don't win at much. And I'm not talking sports here. I'm not talking about, because he's talking about the history of Black men. I'm talking about just like in general power and life conquests. So our takeaway from that is, but I can take your woman, but your women lust after me, but I have the validation. We need that. We are addicted to that because it's the only thing that makes us feel powerful in a world where we're near powerless, or in a country that we're near powerless, I should say. Nevertheless, we're addicted to that validation. Now, on the other side, just knowing that they have that box, hit the like button. A lot of women just knowing that they have a box and feeling empowered by having a box, even though relative to other women, it's just, you know, you're not more powerful than other women, but as a woman, you are powerful over men. They need to feel that way. I noticed that about Black American women. And they're addicted to that power. They become ravenous with it. They become, I need more. I need more validation. I need more Instagram likes. I need more whatever, so I can feel like my box is worth something. I need to exercise the power of my box. I need to leverage the power of my box. And that is a thinking that is very destructive and disruptive to any community and society. We're going to get into that. We're definitely going to get into that. So, was on Unsolicited Security Boss last night, or actually yesterday afternoon, because it was earlier for me here. And a lot of stuff happened. Auston Holleman, of course, was there. And we got to chopping it up. He said a lot of interesting things that I'm going to go over now. And then I'm going to go over a couple of calls after that, because I think that's, I'm not going to say more important than my call, because what can be more important than my call? Now, I do want to say this. I want to give a thank you to Unsolicited Security Boss. Simply put, she typically don't let avatar people like myself up. And she was nice enough to allow me to come up. So greatly appreciate her for that. All right. And really, all the people out there, Sweet Melody Speaks, just all the people who let chess pieces up. We live in a society that discriminates against the non-cammed up. This is a community, this space, the Black YouTube is a community that discriminates against non-cammed up people. I have been kicked off shows or not allowed on shows simply for not having a face. That is discrimination at its worst, and it should not be tolerated. So I appreciate those who do. Thanks a lot, Sweet Melody Speaks. We love you too. All right. That being said, by the way, I am not a complete avatar. I do meet people in real life. I am not hiding my face. I am hiding my identity. All right. So hit that like button. Let me hit the present button, and we will get started. All right. And there we go. Okay. This brother here with the pink shirt with the Hewlett Packard logo, a shirt that you get when you purchase both the computer, the mount, 2 screens, and a microphone, you get this shirt. You just have to mail in a rebate. He has the closest voice to James Earl Jones that I have heard in this space. I hear his voice and he says stuff, but all I can hear is, Luke, I am your father. You are the one true king, Simba. I hear stuff like that all the time. Take a listen. Fair use.
Thank you, CBN. So listen, I do want you all to know that Auston on his channel, Auston, shout out your channel because it's a good channel. Go ahead and shout it out right now because I want to reference something. So go ahead and shout out your channel for me.
My channel is my name, Auston Holleman, where I talk about men traveling overseas to have better options and have a more, let's say, luxurious lifestyle with a U.S. dollar.
See, that makes more sense now. Maybe we should have done that at the beginning. But on top of that, he also talks about how important it is to learn the language.
Shout out to Austin's hair. Shout out to Austin's hair. Shout out to Bernard Riley's hair. Shout out to all the people who spend a exorbitant amount of time brushing waves into their head. Shout out to Chicago from Poetic Justice. Shout out to all the people with the low-cut Caesar and the deep waves. Salute to you. I was that brother for maybe like 20 or so years. Just brushing and brushing and brushing and brushing and lining and brushing and brushing and lining. But, you know, I grew it out and here I am. It's still effort because now, you know, I'm doing a different type of brush. You know, I have to do like the sponge with the circular motion and stuff like that. And it cost me more shampoo now. But I had to do something different. Shout out to Austin, Bernard Riley, and all the wave people out there. Salute to you.
Which, how it could be, how you can get in so many different situations if you don't understand how to speak the language. So definitely visit his channel if you're thinking about, oh, like he says, he cancels also. So make sure you visit his channel if you're thinking about living abroad or becoming a passport bro. He could maybe help you, or you know, we don't know. But GameChanger, come on up and let's say hello.
Hey, how you doing? I greatly appreciate you allowing me to come up.
Okay, good.
So
Thank you.
So there was a couple of things that Austin brought up that was very poignant, and I wanted to highlight what he was saying about the abundance mindset that that a man needs to experience. I mean, he gets more of that when he travels, because a lot of the pushback that he was getting on cruise season, and I really hate this type of pushback, is, you mean to tell me you couldn't find not one in Dallas or Austin or what? It's like, wait a minute. It's not about having one. It's about having an abundance to choose from. Therefore, you can select from a group which one is best suitable for you. I didn't like that they were trying to put on you that, you know, a woman need only the basics, which is being, you know, pretty and feminine. Femininity should not be the basis of compatibility. That should just be a base requirement. Actually, that's a contradiction. What I mean is, it shouldn't be all a woman need to get married to Auston Holleman. I mean, she needs to be compatible with you in other ways. Would you agree?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Let me elaborate on that, because cruise season, and to much their respect, respect to them, they were in the chat room saying things like, now I get it, you know, now I understand better. I don't know what in particular. I did type to them. They didn't respond, but I don't know what in particular they get now. but they did come across some revelations or a revelation during this conversation. I'm curious to find out what that is later on. But nevertheless, when we talk about, sex, submission, sandwich, fit, feminine, and friendly, we have to understand, and women, you have to understand that is the basics. That is the basics. Kind of like that's more on the line of like hygiene. That's really close to just like hygiene. Like if a guy comes to you with a fresh breath and clean hair and clean body and stuff like that, that doesn't mean you're going to drop your panties for him. It doesn't, because that is the basics. That is the basics. Now, if you lived in a society where 80% of the men don't have the basics, and then you complain that so few men have the basics, like, okay, put it like this. Women say, oh, you got to have a J-O-B if you want to be with me. Like, dang, I can't sing. I cannot sing for nothing. Anyway, a job is the basics. These women are not dropping draws for every man with the job. That she's saying that is the base requirement. So fellas, don't go around and say eyes hired and then think that Rihanna is going to drop to her knees. It don't work that way. Stop offering the basics, and ever notice how nobody goes to the women and say, you couldn't find one man with a job? No, what they're saying is that's the base criteria. And because so few people meet the base criteria, it's hard to find somebody that you are actually compatible with, because so few have the base criteria. I cannot iterate that enough. What do I mean by compatible with you? For example, I can't be in a long-term relationships without somebody who, one, laughs at my jokes in the proper way. Like I am a funny man. That is how I get my powers. Just like Hulk is powered by hate and anger and stuff like that, I'm powered by the laughter of others. You got to be able, listen, you could be fit, feminine, and friendly, but if you're just one of those people where I tell one of my hilariously funny jokes and you just sit there and slowly eat a French fries with your eyes rolled, I'm not compatible with you. I'm not compatible with you. Yeah, you're friendly, but you don't. Our humor isn't aligned. You could be fit, feminine, and friendly, and then say something like, oh, you're funny. You must be a Taurus. Like, oh, you're a zodiac chick. I am not compatible with the overwhelming amount of zodiac chicks out there. So for them to say that you just need to find somebody that meets these base criterias and you couldn't find one, like if you find one, no. You need an abundance of such women. From that abundance, you pick the one that you are compatible with. That's what I was talking to Austin about. Let's continue. Exactly. Chemistry don't match. Let's continue. And a man shouldn't marry. Oh, and by the way, fellas, just because my chemistry don't match with a woman, that doesn't mean my anatomy won't match with hers. Yeah. Ha. All right, let's continue. A woman, the first feminine woman that he comes across. And that's why I disagree with the whole concept that, oh, you just need one. It's just one that meets that one criteria. It's like, really? That's very, very, I would say that, and I know that in the chat room, Crew Seasons did say that they didn't understand you and that they now have a better understanding of you. But no, a man does need an abundance to make a proper decision. The same with universities, the same with jobs. You don't just pick the only one that's available to you. You don't have any leverage in that particular situation. Okay. So SB's facial expression changed when I said that. I think she's speaking from the point of view of somebody who is struggling in the marketplace, in the job marketplace. Or she's thinking that I'm talking like a person who's young with few skill sets probably should take the only job that's available to him. I wasn't really talking about that. I was talking about more of a professional with a skill set that many companies want. You want to be in that position, and then you pick the ones with the best perks, the best benefits, the best pay, things like that. The best work culture. You go to Glassdoor and you look at how many stars they have. Like that's who you want to pick. Like if you're a lawyer or something, and you have all these law firms trying to get it. Okay. One of the most successful guys I know of from college, right? He became a doctor, and I forget, it was a highly specialized thing, right? Nigerian dude. And he turned down, I don't know how much he got, but I do know that he turned down, I think it was 3 or 7. It was one of those numbers, 3 or 7 million. We're not talking K here. We're talking M. He turned it down. That is the position you want to position that's the position you want to be in. I don't know why. I don't know the details. This is just something I heard. How you graduate, and then you just run into somebody and you're like, hey, how's such and such and such and such doing? And then you get like an update. So it was one of those situations. But that is what you want to be in. That is the type of position that you want to be in. For a long term, because when you're talking marriage and, long-term relationships, you're talking about long-term arrangements. You want your long-term arrangement to be something that you hand selected out of many options. And unfortunately, that's not something that you will find here in the US. Here in the US, especially if you Black and you deal with Black women, you find somebody fit, feminine, and friendly, and you hold on to it, and you try to make yourself compatible to it. And then she gets put off because you're doing too much, you're trying too hard. So it's almost a bust all the way. And that's why Austin exists. You want to pick the best of many, not the only one that presents itself to you.
Yes. That's what they do. I mean, do they pick the first man?
No, absolutely not. And that's actually and that's another thing. Anybody ever watched a Pineapple Show? I have. And it's depraved. Not only do they not pick the first man, they don't pick any. I wanted to touch on, because now we're getting into box talk territory, and I definitely want to talk about that, because if you don't know, indirectly, USB or SB and I had back and forth about the box and leveraging. And
wait a minute, hold on. Me and you did?
I said indirectly.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you added that, because I had no idea we did. Okay. Go ahead.
No, indirectly, because you spoke to people.
You disagree with
me, and
you're saying, okay, you're saying
yes,
you just disagree with what I said. I got you. Go ahead.
Yes, I do. And and it's not a hostile disagreement, but what it is, and I'm want Austin's opinion on it, because the two of you were talking about liberal. Are you there?
Yeah, but you keep kind of going out a little bit. Game changer.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. But
okay, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the two of you were talking about liberal conservative balance, and that's something I wanted to get into, because what I've noticed, and this is in my travel. Okay, here's some background to what they were talking about. Austin was saying that he wants that he's a conservative, his family's conservative. And trust me, I don't think that he's talking about political affiliations. I think he's talking about more like traditional thinking. They hold to traditional values, and because political conservatives, tend to hold to traditional values, they conflate the two. And political liberals tend to just crap on traditional values because they feel that they're against patriarchy. So, that's what they were talking about. And he was saying that the current girl in the Philippines, Kate, is like 30% conservative or something like that, or 30% liberal. No matter what, he said that she's a little bit of both. And USB was speaking that women should be more conservative, particularly when it comes to the box. So now that you're updated, I'm going to give you my gripe with that. Actually, but before I do that, let me just give some shout outs. Killer Swag, salute. Jackie, salute. Thanks for being a channel member, and thank Deacon Dave for making you a channel member. Greatly appreciate it. Azriel, salute. Madeira, peace, peace. Palacido, salute. Sweet Melody Speaks, peace to you, peace to you. And Black, what's that? Cherubim, salute. Mr. Dacus, the Navigator, salute. Edward, appreciate you. I appreciate you, brother. And let's see. Freedman's Journal, appreciate you. Cortez Smith, appreciate it. Appreciate it. Let's see. Who else we got here? Half a Nickel, appreciate you. And I think we're coming to the end of that. Earth, shout out to you. And Jamari, thanks for becoming a new channel member. J-Lock, I appreciate you. Appreciate you, brother. I'm going to check out that email that you sent me. And Guyver, salute. Computer Geek, Daryl Long. GD, salute, salute. Lane with Game, salute to you. I can relate. And Ken Sien Red, salute. And there we go. Okay. Greatly appreciate y'all. Everybody for being here. Make sure y'all hit that like button. All right. So see my response to that thinking, as well as that in the U.S., the women in the U.S. are taking the worst from liberal and conservatism and presenting it to the man. And I'll give you an example of that. You know, a woman who's taken the worst would be somebody who had a promiscuous past, but decide to reserve herself for you. That is the worst of liberal and conservative, meaning that she was liberal in the past when she was spreading it out, maybe had a few kids, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. She took that aspect of liberalism, and then she decided to present a conservative box to you. That is the worst of both worlds. The opposite of that would be a woman who is the complete opposite of that would be a woman who's a virgin, but decides to be promiscuous with you. And that's a win-win for men. But that doesn't happen foreign or abroad too often. But the balance is really off here. And I think a lot of post-feminism American women are really grappling with that.
So Austin, let me put a little clarity to it, because since he added it to talked about me in there, because what I said earlier is I'm doing wife education. And in wife education, I'm talking to women who want to be wives. It doesn't necessarily mean a woman has a child. It just means that this woman, it may not mean that she's loose. It could just mean, well, it actually means she doesn't have to be a virgin. It could be she had sex one time. She's not a virgin anymore. And we don't have to talk in extremes because it doesn't change anything. So she's not a virgin. And my theory is a woman doesn't have to and should not live in chaos all her life, meaning continuously dating different men, exposing herself to different men, and constantly losing value. One of the most important things that we have for a woman is our virtue.
Okay, I'm gonna stop right there. Be one or the other. I can't stress that enough. Be one or the other. Don't be half stepping. And I'm not saying like if you're not a virgin, become a slut or anything like that. But don't. Okay, here's the thing. Look at it from a male benefit standpoint. And I said this on my other video, but it was muted and it was funny, so I took that down. So I'm gonna say it again. When you're conservative, and I knew a conservative guy. I used to work for a guy, a Mormon guy, right? And I'm assuming that his wife was attractive in her day. I do know his daughter was attractive. And he told me something very interesting. His daughter was in college. And he told me that he abstained. he abstained for his wife, meaning that, he didn't have sex until he married her. And of course, she didn't have sex until she married him. So they have conservative, traditional Mormon values that they instill into their household. So the cons is the downside of that is you only know one vagina your whole life. The upside of that is you have a woman who only known your penis. And in addition to that, there is a greater sense of security that comes with the relationship. If the daughter is in college, then they've been together for a severely long time. So you have all of these traditional values, and these are traditional benefits. Those are the traditional benefits that come with it. Now, on the flip side, if you want to say non-traditional, then that means that a guy can do his player thing. And then the upside would be he could do his player thing and then, get his wife when at his convenience and at her convenience. And even though his wife was touched, she learned a few things and she got a little freaky for you. So these are the plus sides. And also, she might be open to bringing in another girl or two. These are the plus side of the liberal lifestyle. Now, the downside of the liberal lifestyle is you don't get them as young because she is, she's looking to ride the CC for a little bit. She has a bit of Amber Rose in her brain, and the relationships don't last very long because there's nothing under immediate instant gratification that's keeping the two of you together. So these relationships just go. They just go. Like, these are the type of relationships where you just say, oh, I'm not happy. I gotta go. Or, somebody breaks their legs and you're in a wheelchair. Like, listen, you're not fulfilling my needs anymore. I gotta go. So these are the downfalls of traditionalism, or excuse me, of non-traditionalism. Hit the like button, people. Hit the like button. Now, what is being talked about now, and this is what USB don't realize what she's offering men with this whole reserve the box thing. And she's basically offering women who has been traditional, meaning that you're not getting a virgin anymore. They've been traditional, and you also are waiting for it. Or excuse me, they've been non-traditional, but you're waiting for it as a traditional. And there's still no guarantee of the longevity of the relationship. In fact, it's a guarantee that it's not a longevity, and that's because you are marrying them much later in life. Meaning that you're not going to get a 50-year marriage because you're not going to live 50 years. You married her at 50. Unless you live to 100, you're not going to get those extra 50 years. So you're getting a lot less with this new paradigm. And that is when the women wake up on a Thursday morning and say, something, I want to be traditional now. Like, excuse me? Like, you heard me. I want to be traditional now. Like, what does that mean? It means that you don't get any of this thing I gave others. You know that thing you like? Well, you don't get to have that like everybody else did. And a person like me will sit to himself and say, wait a minute. I am offering you the exact same thing that great-grandpapa offered great-grandmama, except great-grandmama gave great-grandpapa virgin pussy. Let's just throw it out there. Great-grandmama gave great-grandpapa that virgin box. And then great-grandpapa got on one knee, gave her some jewelry, and dedicated his life to her. So now I got to get on one knee, dedicate my life to you. I'm giving you the same thing great grandpapa gave great grandmama, but you're not giving me the same thing. That's essentially what you're saying. That is a bad deal, and men, particularly men like Auston, aren't having it. Hit the like button.
Femininity, modesty, that's who we are, and that's what we want to be as wives, and that's our presentation. So if a woman continuously gives herself to a man, a date, a random guy, someone that has not promised her marriage, she can't offer that anymore. So I think what GameChanger is saying, I'm being unfair because I'm telling the women it's time to preserve yourself if you now have a different mindset about who you are. And I'm not talking in extremes. I don't know what the woman has. It's totally up to a man what he decides he wants from a woman. If a woman presents herself and says, I am a wife, I am aligning myself with what my creator has said.
And that's the thing. You don't become a wife. You don't become wife material because you state, I am a wife. It reminds me of a scene from, hit the like button. It reminds me of a scene from the show Office Space, where the boss, Michael Scott, was having financial problems. And he just walked into the room where everybody was working and said, I declare bankruptcy. And somebody had to tell him, like, you don't just become bankrupt by declaring bankruptcy. You don't just yell, I declare bankruptcy, and that's the case. And a woman just don't yell, I am wifey, and then all of a sudden she becomes wifey material. Like, why is it that it seems like all they know about being wifey material is to not give up the box? Like, I don't get it. Like, you think that this puts you above all the other women out there who have been preparing their whole life, like when they were little girls and they walked around with a baby poop a lot, or the baby bottle or something like that, and they've been brushing little baby real hair, and then they brushing the baby real hair and stuff, and then they graduate into Barbie, and then they show Barbie, this is Barbie Cook a Lot, like. And then they show Barbie in the house, in the kitchen, getting Ken a sandwich. And they've been doing this since like 6 years old and stuff like that. And just to prepare for one day, they walk down that aisle and the fat guy sings, she's your queen. They have been preparing their whole life for that one day. And then your ass come and say, I am wifey. What the hell? How arrogant are you? How arrogant are you to think stuff like that is cool? To think that you could just like say that you want to be a wifey and then abstain from box and think that that's cool. And think that just puts you, I am going to do that. I am going to do that. I'm going to do. You know who I'm going to do that to? Just to show people how absurd this is. Hold on, let me show you. And yeah, I'm a keyboard warrior. I am a keyboard warrior, and I'm about to show y'all exactly what I'm talking about. Hit the like button. Y'all know who this is. Y'all know who this is. That's right. I am champion. That's right. I'm coming for you. I am champion. I have declared myself to be champion. I'm coming for you. Yeah, you have been changing you've been training your whole life. in the ancient fighting style of Mandingo. You was a beat ass kid that turned into a beat ass teenager that turned into a beat ass champion. But you know, I woke up one Sunday morning and breakfast was on the table, and I decided that I am going to be champion because I declared it. No, no, no. You don't just declare stuff. You have to actually work towards it. If I am going to be like the beat asser, then I have to work towards it. You can't just declare stuff, you know. It's like yeah, I'm gonna declare myself as a UFC fighter, and I'm gonna eat Wheaties, and then all of a sudden I will be the best. So no, you got to do better. And by do better, I say get me more. Get me more stuff that I don't want. Get me more stuff that I want, and stop taking away the stuff I don't want. Sick of you. Wheaties taste like crap. Wheaties taste like crap. And everybody knows it. I had Wheaties one time in my life when I was a kid, and that's because I was tempted by the cereal box prize. And once I got the prize, and I was stuck with the whole box of Wheaties, that was the worst.
I should be. I am preserving myself and waiting on my husband. If he doesn't want to do that, or he's not ready to be a husband, he leaves. He goes on his way. Now, in the meantime,
that is exactly what Auston did.
She's asking questions. She's asking, man, do you want to be married? What are your intentions? And if in his vetting or what have you, if he doesn't mention a wife, I tell that woman he doesn't want to be a husband. It's real simple. A woman now, I teach intent.
Okay. Here's where I disagree with this. No man wants to be a husband until a woman makes him wants to be a husband. And it takes more than a box to do that. A lot more. It takes a lot more. Most men don't go around looking to be husbands. They just wake up one morning with a ring on their finger and a bunch of kids. Because her wife goodness was so on point that he didn't even realize what he was getting himself into, but he just understood that he was happy in it. That's how that works.
Be intentional instead of wasting time or having sex with somebody that has no intentions on wifing you up. Why are we doing that? Why keep adding to your body count to figure later on that, wow, now I got 2 kids and I'm still alone and still looking for a man. Now nobody wants me. That's not how it should be. It's very manipulating for someone to say, in order for me to buy this car, well, we all test drive. Well, no, it's certain cars you cannot test drive. And that's what I want a woman to be. Not all cars need to be test drove before you purchase them. And that's just adding value back to that woman. And that's what GameChanger is talking about. Did I explain that okay, GameChanger?
Yeah, but
okay.
I do want to point out that all the cars that you don't get the test drive have 0 miles on them. Now, I'm going to explain that analogy because she's saying that, you don't get to test drive every car before you buy it. And that is true. That is true. However, the cars that you don't get to test are 0 miles on it. If you try to show me a car with 50,000 miles on it and say, oh yeah, you don't get to test drive this, like, wait, what? Somebody has rode that car for 50,000 miles. You're telling me I don't get to drive it a half mile? Is that what you're telling me? What are you preserving at that point? If somebody gave me like a Rolls Royce off the showroom floor with like less than 3,000 miles on it, that's one thing. But you're not gonna give me a car with all the miles and say you can't test drive it. I'm gonna treat this like a new car, and meaning you can't test drive it.
I'm sorry, what you say, Game Changer? I didn't hear that last part.
All of the cars that you don't get to test drive has 0 miles on them.
No, not true.
Well, of course, they have to drive it to the showroom. But I mean,
it's just an example, but I understand what you're saying, but it's quite manipulation. It's manipulating to tell a woman she has to have sex before you marry her. But we're not going to take away Austin's time because this is for Austin.
Okay, but is it not manipulating?
No, it's
okay,
not. It's not because, listen, it's not because that is, she's valuing herself in this moment. If you don't want to deal with herself, and that's okay. He doesn't have to be with her.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I didn't really get out what I was trying to say here, but she's saying that it's manipulating to tell a woman that she has to put out before marriage. And my response was, it's manipulating to tell a man that he has to get married before she puts out. It's equal manipulation. I mean, basically, you're saying that it's wrong for a person to hoard something that the opposite sex wants until you get what you want. That's what you're saying. You're saying that that mode of thinking is wrong. And what I'm saying is you are teaching them to do just that, which is creating a stalemate in Western relationships. Okay, so it's not manipulating for a woman to say you have to marry me in order to have sex, but it is manipulating for a man to say you have to have sex with me before I consider marrying you? Is that what
absolutely? Because guess what?
Okay.
We are. Let me tell you why. Because we are saying to women and men, the box is not what's most important.
And this is what killed me, because she was on, even though she wasn't saying it, she was on the panel, bobbleheading, and SB, let me know if you're there. Was you not on the panel bobbleheading when dude was like, sex is God and I die for this. He didn't say I die for this, but like empires have fallen for this. Alexander the Great was just not so great because of the box, even though he was gay. But still, like, they went into this whole the power of the box. The precious, they went into this whole thing just for her to now say that it shouldn't be the end all be all. Just saying. Is that what
absolutely? Because guess what?
Okay.
We are. Let me tell you why. Because we are saying to women and men, the box is not what's most.
Somebody said he was what? Talking about Alexander the Great. Listen. Yeah, I hate to be the one to break it to you, but yeah, he was. Consider marrying you? Is that what
absolutely? Because guess what?
Okay.
We are. Let me tell you why. Because we are saying to women and men, the box is not what's most important. You're making the box most important. I'm telling women your virtue, your femininity, your modesty, all these things, your ability to cook and be a good wife is more important than your box.
But those things aren't being reserved, are they? And that's what I'm getting at. Like, wait a minute, all of this cooking, cleaning, and blah, 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 and blah, 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 and apron and sandwich, those things are more important than the box. But why don't a guy have to wait to marry you to get those things? And all those things
they are now.
Really? So you're saying that women are you're also? She muted me, or her husband muted me.
They are now, because I have now realized where I've gone wrong, and I'm no longer living in chaos. But guess what? It also takes a man to have the same belief system that I have. But we're not here for that. We're here for Auston. Do you have anything else you want to say to Auston so I can let you go?
Yeah.
You can talk to me another time.
Oh, am I muted? Yeah. So really the question was to him about the liberal conservative balance, but we did stray far from that question.
We did. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. And this is going to sound related, but you or excuse me. All right, let's get this down. Let's get this out right now. Okay. Men aren't bi, only bi women are bi. Secondly, I strongly suspect that that he did it because he needed to do it. As a guy in his position, he needed kids. He needed kids, and I don't know if Roxana's kids would be considered bastards, though she was not Greek. I think she was technically his wife. And there you have it. Please understand that this is not related. You mentioned that men are desperate for the box, and those men are easily manipulated by Brazilian women when they go out there because they come from a place of thirst and they'll do anything for the box. Could the same manipulate? And you say that Brazilian women manipulate men into marriage who are desperate for the box. Could the same be true? Can the same be said about American women?
Yes, but the difference is usually the man is not getting anything out of it. Besides sex, and then that's usually weaponized against him once they get married.
So you're saying that an American woman uses a man's desperation for the box to say something like, you know, okay, I'll marry you. You'll get the box after marriage. And then she don't even give him the box after?
I've never been married before. What I've heard, the sex doesn't speed up after the wedding ring is put on.
So it goes from 0 to 0 in the case of a woman who didn't give it to you before because it's not speeding up.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. So to break down what Auston was saying, that a woman who's reserving a box before marriage is going to reserve it more after marriage. That's it. That is your life. All right, so the call is about to end here, but then we're going to go to the next caller because there's some things I want to point out about what she was doing and saying.
All right. Thank you, GameChanger. Do you have any other questions? If not, we're going to bring up the next caller.
No. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Sierra.
Hey.
Okay. This is Sierra. Now, I've seen her on Crew season, I think, before. Now, just to be clear about where I stand with her and my understanding of her and her situation and her talking points and stuff like that, I truly and sincerely do not like her. That being said, I will wrap her hair around my right hand twice, place her face down into a pillow, and rigorously smash the hell out of her, while knowing that I do not like her. Once again, Sarah, if you're listening, wrap your hair around my hand twice. Get a tight grip. Put your face down into the pillow and hit it from behind rigorously. That I would do. And this is another example of how just because a person can be pretty and feminine, etc., it doesn't mean that they are compatible. I am not compatible at all with this chick, not in the least. Ever. I am not. And I know a lot of brothers, especially after hearing what she's about to say right now, it feels the same way. Let's take a listen.
Hey, how are you? Saira, I apologize.
No worries, thank you.
Go ahead, Austin. You remember her from Crew season?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and
Hey,
ask your
Austin.
question.
Hello.
Good to see you again.
Yeah.
Well, I have a couple of questions. I am not here, to be against of what he said. I think, just like you, I agree with you, Security Boss, that he sounds confident and, in what he's saying. He sounds like that's what he wants, and I respect that. I just have one, question right now. Do you think that your actions can have a positive impact or a negative impact outside of the United States? Your actions and words.
On who?
Exactly. I like how he said that, because me wrapping my hand around your hair, or wrapping your hair around my hand twice and smashing you rigorously from the back will have a positive impact on my penis, but possibly a negative one on your hair and vagina. So yeah, that is, you got to ask on who.
Positive impact or negative impact?
To who? Young men, women in these countries, like who?
Outside of the United States, like in general. Like, okay, so let me put it this way. I believe that our actions as humans can have a positive impact or a negative impact. So based on your actions, whatever it was in Brazil, I don't consider that was a positive impact for you. It was more like a negative outcome that you obtained. And when I search for Passport Bros, your face comes up on YouTube or anywhere. But I think you became the face of it in a negative way because of a negative thing that happened in Brazil. That's just the way I see it. I'm not saying that you did it or you didn't do it. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that the reason why is something negative. So I have no problems with men. I want to make that clear. I have no problems with men traveling, exploring, wanting to meet other women, feeling safe and welcome, and, like with other women, enjoying other women outside of the United States. That's not what I'm saying. But there are things that I feel that are going to be or could possibly have a negative impact later on if you continue to do the way that you do. Because I think the way that you promote women or you put women out there, they look easy instead of like
I agree with what she's saying here. And Austin agrees with that as well, which is why he's changing the what he's doing. He's focusing on individual women as opposed to the culture of the women. So, salute to him on that. But yeah, it's not really good to. It's a taboo topic. It's a taboo topic, and they don't want to feel collectively like sluts. I get what she's saying. I don't agree with why she's saying it. Let me read a couple of messages. So, are you sure she's even feminine? She seems like a chameleon. Okay, so understand this. When it comes to chameleons, because chameleons exist, men want to have more time. They want to take their time. We want a longer vetting process. And modern women know that we want, dare I say, need a longer vetting process. Hit the like button. So what modern women have decided to do, because we want/need a longer vetting process, is they decide, like, listen, I got to speed up this vetting process before he realizes I am a chameleon. Because chameleons, see, the thing about chameleons, and this goes for in real life, if you look long enough, you can see them. See, chameleons can't be seen through a passing glance. Like if you look at, the first time I seen a chameleon was in the Philippines. And I know it was a chameleon because it matched the background. It was on a sign to this like little food hut that I was in. and the sign, the top part of the sign was orange, like a sandy orange, and or yellow, and the part with the sign itself was, the wall was a sandy orange and yellow, but the sign was white, and his hand was on the sign, and the hand turned white like the sign, and the other part was the color of the wall. So at first glance, I just looked at the sign and didn't really think much of it. And then when I was sitting there eating, I looked, and if you look long enough, you could see that there's a chameleon there. Why am I saying this? Why am I bringing this analogy, this real life analogy up? Is because if you are with a chameleon long enough, you can see them for the lizard they are. That's my point. If you look at a chameleon long enough, you can see them for the lizard that they are. So chameleons want to hide the box because they want to get that ring before they are outed for being chameleons. That's my point. That's why they like, oh no, I'm going to hide the box so he could just, so his horniness will force him to marry me sooner. And then, he won't see my true reptilian nature. All right. Primetime VA. Thanks for the verse super chat, I think, and Cash App for the day. Let me check Cash Apps. But he says, Sarah likes to blame passport bros for why El Salvador is not a great place when that's where MS-13 come from. Oh, I thought that was Mexican. I thought there was Mexican, but she isn't being honest. Yeah. I don't know how often passport bros even frequent El Salvador. I think I was just there, like on the way to Brazil, but not there. Oh, crap. Okay, no, I just got a bad email, but no Cash Apps. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, places have gangs. I'm not really, faulting her or anything like that for that. But I am saying that she's doing something sinister here, and we're going to talk about that as it goes on.
I don't know. I look at these women, and I am not in the United States. Okay, so when I look at them, I can see that they are easy, and they are there for a reason. What's the difference with a woman being with you in the United States with a high body count, and a woman outside of the United States that stays with a man, a tourist, for 5 days, 10 days, lets you go, and then another tourist comes in and stays with that tourist, and her body count is getting higher and higher and higher? It's the same thing.
You get a better.
Here's the thing, and this is why this question is misdirected towards Austin. We're not holding body counts against them. Foreign or domestic, we're not really holding body counts against people like that. We're not. Hold on. Yeah, we're not holding body counts against women like that. I know I'm not. See, what they're doing, and this comes from the SB thinking that a woman's body count is the end all be all to her value. It's not. And this comes from not listening to what men want. So they hear something like, oh, you don't like body counts, huh? Well, I'm going to hold the box from you. Like, wait, what? Did I tell you to do that? Did I tell you that that's what we wanted? You have to listen to my penis. When I said that I want to wrap my hand around your hair twice, meaning like 2 circles, put your face in a pillow and hit it rigorously from the back. Do I care about your body count in that process? Did I say, oh, only if you have a body count under 20 do I wish to do these things? No. No, I do not. Nor did Auston. But you are under the impression that the reason that men aren't as into you or apt to marry you as you want them to be is because of body count. And you like, what do these women have that these women don't have? It's all the same body count. That's because we do not, we see, here's the thing. When we query women, we don't query them by order of body count. We query them by slimness of waist, suppleness of titties, and longness of hair, and prettiness of face, and biteable of ass. That is how we line up the women. That is the list of priority that we have. What in the hell is this? I'm talking order of priority. I am talking order of priority. An attractive woman who's stupid is more valuable than an ugly genius. To me, I repeat, an attractive woman that is stupid is more valuable than an ugly genius. Unless she is using her genius to cure my gray hairs, then I don't need her.
Right. I mean, I'm not judging you for what you're doing. What I'm saying is that you're creating this same thing that you were doing in the US. You're just spreading it and put it outside.
Wait a minute, Sierra. We never, I'm sorry, I'm saying your name wrong again. But what he did in the United States, why are you saying that? How do we know what he did in the United States?
I'm not saying him. I'm saying men in general. Men in general.
And
like,
what are
I
they
hear
doing?
a lot of.
Okay, go ahead.
I heard a lot of men talking about, the body count, the high body count on women.
Okay.
And I'm like, who put that weight or that those miles on these women? I agree that the women shouldn't allow that to happen. Okay. And that's why I think some women outside of the United States needs to also be educated on that this man is not, if you really want to get married as a woman outside of the United States and this man is not staying for too long, you shouldn't be dating him. But this is the thing, it's creating that, just because I'm going.
All right, we got somebody in here talking. Okay, that must be addressed. It says, if you see she's stacked, she's portraying the assets to bait you into potential suitors. You're looking for hoes. Don't be mad when she asks, where's the cash at? So you telling me that a woman who's physically attractive must be a hoe? Is that what you're saying? See, this is what I'm talking about. You know, we as black men, let's point it out. Let's just put it out there on the table. We have the lowest physical standards of each and every single man on the planet. And each and every single man on the planet, we have the lowest physical standards. And that's why, and the reason why is because our single mothers never taught us that there is a hierarchy of beauty. Now, I'm going to say this. Beautiful women are better at being women than non-beautiful women. I repeat, beautiful women are better at being women than non-beautiful women. Just like the beat ass Navy SEALs of the world are better at being men than the non beat ass Navy SEALs of the world. Just like the kings of the Ottomans, or the Sultan of the Ottomans, or the czars of Russia, or the Mongolian, what do you call that? Genghis Khans, the Khans of the world, and the Caesars, they're better at being men than the bread bakers. Beautiful women are better at being women than non-beautiful women. And it is imperative to all men to appreciate that. Appreciate them as better women. Your thinking, and so hopeful, your thinking is the reason that average at best brain is all screwed up, full of dog shampoo and dog nail clippings. That is the reason for that. Why? Because she doesn't understand her place in the woman hierarchy. And that's why she says stuff like, I garden, and crap like that. I don't give a damn. You are lesser than all the more beautiful women who don't garden. And it is from an abundance of beautiful women that a man must choose the brain. Sick of this crap. Hit the like button. Hit the Cash App button. And hit the Super Chat button.
Going to give him the box. He's going to stay with me. They're not telling you that, but that's the delusional part on women. It doesn't matter what the thing is. Not, if you really want to get married as a woman outside of the United States and this man is not staying for too long, you shouldn't be dating him. But this is the thing. It's creating that,
It depends. It depends on why you are dating him. When I am dating abroad, many women, especially if they, not every woman I dated abroad was poor by American standards. The ones who are, I do feel like Aladdin. I do feel like Aladdin. I do feel like I can show you the world. Indescribable feelings. I can show you, I have a magic carpet. I have a passport. This is my magic carpet. I have like all kinds of stuff, like American Express card. Actually, I don't think that works there. But I have like a bank account and all that, meaning I can take you to places and show you things that you could not normally see. I can do this. And yes, that experience, it's temporary, but I am giving you an experience of a lifetime. Now, let's just put this on the other foot for a moment, right? And let's just say you're with a chick who's both, say you're with Lori Harvey, right? She can show you things. She can introduce you to people. She can show you a whole new world. Even if it's temporary. That experience, and when I say you, I'm not talking to the rich dudes in the thing. I'm not talking to you, 8-figure a year dudes. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about you private jet owning people, if there are any here. Not really talking about that. I'm talking about you regular 5 to 6 figure brothers. She can show you a whole different world. You know, you go to the restaurant with her, and then some white dude comes out and talks about the cow that you about to eat. When I seen that for the first time, I was like, oh, what the hell? Boats that are like little apartments and bathrooms that when you leave the shower and you step onto the floor with your bare feet, it's warm. It's warm, and it's like that all day. Like, they can show you like a whole different world. And just like they could do that for you, just like the super rich can do that for you, you can do that for them. So just because they're not getting marriage from you, they are getting an experience, and they are grateful for that. And they show their gratitude.
Because I'm going to give him the box, he's going to stay with me. They're not telling you that, but that's the delusional part on women. It doesn't matter where you go. Women are women.
She pretending like they stupid. She pretending like they stupid. Like the women of El Salvador don't know that a man who's on vacation is a man who's on vacation. Listen, when I travel abroad, the women like that two major things. Besides, like the obvious individual characteristics that that they might find interesting about me. But two major things. One, I can show them a good time. And two, that everything we do is going to be a secret. She don't have to, my thing what we do don't really add to her body count from the perception of the locals. Because if she lives in a small community, then word gets around, everything she did. One brother tell his friend, his homie, and his homie, and his homie, and next thing you know, everybody knows, they could pretty much count her body. But they can't do that with me because I don't even speak the damn language, and I'll be gone soon. So, she don't have to worry about that. Those are the two appeals that I gather from that. But very few, at least in Latin America, are under the delusion of long-term, like, this is going to be my bae. I will say that they are like that in the Philippines. They do want you for long-term. I know this because they text and email a lot after you leave. And it's not for money. They just want to talk.
Which Miss Security Boss said it earlier. Women still want to get married.
Wait a minute, Austin, before you answer that question, because I was one big part that we're missing. Sierra, the women that he's dating or spending time with, they're all of age, and they all need to be held accountable for what they decide to do. Let's don't miss that. Even the ones in the US, if we decide to give ourselves to men, then we just decide to do so, and we have to be accountable for that. So we can't hold this man responsible for that part.
Right.
But again, we're talking about me. I'm talking about adding value back into women and us making different decisions. So maybe that should be a different conversation to the women that are involving themselves, instead of asking him, why is he doing this? But I'm going to let Austin go ahead and answer that question from his point of view.
So I want to say, number one, I'm not a tourist. I'm not going back to the United States. So I'm not pushing any sort of tourism. If you've watched enough of my videos, you hear me say leave the United States permanently. So I'm not encouraging men to go sleep with some gringo hunter for 5 days and then go back. So that's not even what my channel's about. I think I'm leading by example. I'm not going
rigorously from behind.
Okay, I understand. Now, you stay in certain amount of days in Thailand and then going to Philippines and then going to another country. So that's tourism.
That's my job.
Okay. I mean, expat is someone that stays for a longer period of time and works in a place. That's the way I see it. As I work
Yeah,
with
that place was Brazil. And if you go look at my community posts, I was still living in Brazil, and I was going to bring content from at least 11 countries while I still had a place in Brazil. But since this happened, now I'm just going to jump around and do content. And then whenever I get through going to my places, then I'll find somewhere to live in. Because I wanted to live in Brazil.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let me put it this way. I am not hating on passport bros. Please, I'm making that clear. I'm not. But I'm not American.
Okay. Shout out to I don't know, one of the Stark boys from Winterfell, who said everything before the word but is bullshit. I repeat, everything before the word but is bullshit. Now, listen to how she talks.
Now I'm just going to jump around and do content. And then whenever I get through going to my places, then I'll find somewhere to live in. Because I wanted to live in Brazil.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let me put it this way. I am not hating on passport bros. Please, I'm making that clear. I'm not. But I am.
But so all that, I am not hating on passport. That's the bullshit part. Now she's about to say what she actually thinks.
And I'm not American. I'm not in the United States. I don't have that culture. I am someone outside looking at it from the outside, how this could affect other cultures. How
I'm going to talk about your individual culture right now. Like, oh, we're infecting your culture with the penis because he keeps wrapping his hand around. Well, I'm not even going to say that again. But the thing, I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about that in a moment.
Oh, the behavior of men traveling and just dating women, not doing anything else because they're not getting married. They're just dating women, which is fine. I'm saying it's fine. But this is spreading American culture to these other cultures. I'm just trying to protect.
Oh, well, that changes everything. Then scratch that. You know, she's completely useless now. Huh. She used to have a face. All right.
And just like Miss Security Boss is doing it for the American women, I want other women outside of the United States to understand that if what you really want is to get married, take care of themselves from men that come to these countries with the intention that have a good time, date, but not marry. Because at the end of the day, we want to get married too. And I'm not for papers, not for none of these things. It's just what women want. And I'm not saying you, but remember, and that's why I ask you, it could have a positive impact or a negative. Why? Because you may have your goals clear, which I respect, but there is men out there that are listening that will interpret your words in a different way.
He does make his words clear. Like, why are they? So now they're berating him for not wanting to marry at 23. You see, they don't like that it's hard. It's hard to seduce an international man. Like they don't just hop off the plane so horny that they marry the first chick that show a little piece of thigh and a little piece of bra strap. They're upset that the men aren't doing that. All right, so Lim sent a Cash App. It says, interesting conversation, salute. All right, appreciate you. I appreciate your Cash App, $15 Cash App. And also, I appreciate, because I haven't seen you before. I know you're listening to Cloud, so I appreciate the new subscriber. Appreciate you. By the way, if you're new here, hit the subscribe button. All right. So, yeah. That's what she's hoping for. She wants the guys she just wants this influx of guys that get off the plane so disgusted by Western women that they marry the first chick that they see from the chest up. That's what she's hoping for.
Like there's men that are saying, oh, I think I heard you clarifying this on a video, specifically saying, oh, don't think that just because you're American, you're going to be treated as a celebrity. No, you have to work on yourself. And I think you did. And I was like, I'm glad that he's saying that, because.
And don't think just because you're El Salvadorian that you're going to be treated like a wife.
It requires effort from you to be who you are, to be able to present yourself on other cultures, because not just because you're American, they're going to accept you just like that. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
I'm just saying that.
Let me add this little piece before we go on. This is it has been Passport Bros, I think we said, since 1960, well before both of y'all will even thought about. So it's nothing new for a young woman.
Wait, both of y'all? Wait. How old are you? I thought you were like, somebody said you was in your 40s. But if they thought about you in 1960, okay. I don't even want to think about it.
From another country to date an American man. So it's not like it's a new project. But we are seeing it now because of the access, meaning YouTube and, Instagram and things of that nature. So they're letting us into their life. But if you really got a message for your women that you want them to preserve themselves and, be careful with that, we got to talk to the women. Men are going to be men. They're going to do what they want to do. So we really do have to talk to the men, and he's going to tell you again too, I know, but as far as his situation in Brazil, it seems like it was made up. And if someone makes up something on you that is negative, then that's what it is. It's negative. So he's got to fight that. He can't just embrace it and be like, this is what happened. He's going to fight that. And then hopefully the whole message of who he is will be turned around and they'll see exactly the kind of man that he is. But is it anything else that you have that you would say was negative towards the Passport Bros that he may need to address towards you?
Yes, I actually have one thing that I consider could negatively impact.
Okay.
Not just
this is the meat and potatoes.
Group, but in general, I notice in your pictures, or you're addressing this person as your tour guide.
Yep. Here
and
we go.
I think if a person that is working as a tour guide could be affected negatively by this, because other men, I know tourist guide in Costa Rica that actually work out of that. They live out of that. And then all men who get your message negatively or in a wrong way, they are going to be thinking that every tour guide gives you these benefits.
Well, I can say you are a dumbass if you believe the tour guide sleeps in the same.
And there's her kids. There's her kids. She is what the El Salvadorians call El Single Mother. Oh. By the way, don't make the same mistake I did when I went to the Dominican Republic for the first time. I thought that Spanish was just English words when you say L in the beginning and O at the end. So people was looking at me crazy because I thought I was talking Spanish, but really I was just saying stuff with L and O at the end of it. Walked into the store and I said, yes, L, I want milk O. Yeah. And they looked at me crazy. Don't be that. Spanish is a whole complicated language. It's not. By the way, those of you who are new here, that's how I joke. That's how I joke. I don't actually do stuff like that. I didn't actually do that. I trust me. I grew up in California, and there's Mexicans here. I know Spanish is a language, but jokes aside, I did walk into a store in the Dominican, and I was like leche, right, which means milk. Like, where's the leche? Need some leche. And these fools was I shouldn't call them fools because it's just like how they do stuff different. They was pointing to the counter. They wasn't pointing to the refrigerator where I get milk from. Because I was looking at the refrigerator, there was a bunch of sodas and stuff, and I was like, hey, where's the milk? Because I had already bought cereal. I'm like, where's the milk? And I'm tripping. And then I said, Leche? And then they pointed to the counter. And I looked at the counter, and then I looked back at the refrigerator. I was like, nah, milk don't come on the counter. But apparently they got powdered milk, and that's what they don't really keep the milk in the refrigerator like that at the small bodegas, and then at the larger grocery stores, sometimes it's spoiled. Sometimes it's straight up spoiled. And I actually was with a chick, and she just poured it. It was all clumps and stuff. She just poured it right on the cereal and ate it. It was like all kind of clumps of milk on the side of her mouth. And I was like, oh, crap. So, yeah, if you like milk, some places you just don't want to mess with. Some places you just don't want to mess with. I think I never did it. Like after that, I was just sour from the whole milk experience. But I think that, and I was told this, that it's the consumer's responsibility to look at the date on the milk. So, you can get fresh milk, but if it's expired, the store is not going to take it down. That's on you. That's on you. That's on you to get rid of the, to look at the date. Here, that if you're going to drink the milk the same day, they're not going to sell you milk that's all clumped up. Like, I don't think that they're allowed to do that. So, yeah, true story. Quick segue. Let me get back into it. Hit the like button. Oh, wait a minute. The foreign pretty boy said something that's worthy of being addressed. Spanish is actually a dumbass language. It says backwards. It says sentences backwards at times too. Yeah, so does Yoda, and he's not dumb. Dumb he's not. Is stupid Yoda is? See? Some things is just different.
Going to be thinking that every tour guide gives you this benefit.
Well, I can say you are a dumbass if you believe the tour guide sleeps in the same Airbnb as you.
Okay, I like that. I agree. So I just, I don't want to suggest anything. I'm just saying it's better to call it for what it is. She's my friend who's showing me around and not calling it. Well, that's the thing. It could negative.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Austin has a lady friend, whatever you want to call it, that shows him around. So she is working as a tour guide. And really by the same logic, because I'm sure he's willing to protect her from reasonable harm, she can call him her bodyguard, even though that's not his official position and title. She could say he's my protector. So, and that's what we do, like a person doesn't have to actually be that thing for you to call him that thing. Like your best friend from junior high or elementary sandbox, you just be like, yeah, this is my brother, But she's more on the thing like, no, it's not technically that. Now, the reason why this is a little bit problematic is because it goes into the type of confusion that got Austin in trouble in Brazil. Like they misinterpret or misunderstand what he was saying, and this whole fiasco happened. Now, as far as cultural understanding, it should go both ways. You shouldn't say that, you need to solely understand my culture. And it's not just up to the interpreter or the person who's speaking to understand how it would be interpreted. It's also reasonable, the person listening should have a reasonable understanding that this isn't a foreigner and I might be interpreting something he's saying wrong. Because he's not calling her his literal, tour guide that he's sleeping with. He's saying that this is a woman that I'm sleeping with who's functioning as a tour guide because she's showing me a whole new world. All right, Daryl has something to say. He says, I hope you react to the Courtney Michelle panel. Once again, single women over 40 are online crying over crying to give relationship advice. Yeah, I'm definitely going to talk about the Courtney video. That's long, but I wanted to do this one first because it's fresh. But yeah, I'm definitely going to talk about my experience on the Courtney Michelle thing. So, if I have time, I might stop by Chantelle. She's going to go live today and talk about that. So, yeah, but I'll get into that.
Impact a society, a culture that benefits from tourism, like Brazil, Costa Rica, Thailand, for example, is big on tourism, and there's people that do this for a living. And I'm telling you, I work in the tourism industry field, so I had men that ask predatory questions.
You see that? Did you hear those words? Did you hear those words? I had men that asked predatory questions. Okay, that is a contradiction in terms. I had men that asked predatory questions. It's not predatory if it's a question, now is it? See, predators don't ask. They prey. Or they attack their prey. They consume their prey. Like a lion don't go up and say, "Hey, dear zebra, do you mind if I just take a nice chunk of you?" Predators don't ask. That's why they're predators. Because they don't require consent. If they're asking for consent, then they're not a predator. If I were to see you and I was to say, well, not now that you're fat, but I was like, listen, I like to wrap my hand around. I'm not even going to go into the details now because you're fat. But if I were to ask such a question, it is not a predatory question. It may be an inappropriate one, but it's not a predatory question. So you correcting people's English and stuff because, he called somebody a tour guide. You got to check yours because the stuff you are doing is insulting. Just like you felt that the word easy was insulting, the word predator is insulting.
Because I'm a woman, and they think that just because I'm a woman, this is a benefit that is included in the experience of knowing the country. So, and then, a negative impact could be that, a country like Brazil, for example, I'm so sorry.
Right about that, but it would have been up to you to agree with that. If you didn't agree, then it was just the men trying you.
Thank you,
if a
SB.
woman agrees, then at that point,
it's just the men trying you. Exactly. Thank you, SB, for putting that into perspective.
Whether her title is a tour guide or now
and she got 2 kids, which means that she was preyed upon twice. Somebody asked you for something, you said yes, and twice, and you're walking around with the babies. But no, you guys are predators if you don't come with a ring in your pocket.
I'm enjoying this tour guide. I like her. I think that's a different thing. But listen, go ahead and complete that question because we got another caller we're going to take, and then we're going to go to these super chats.
So it's just pretty much to say, your actions, your words can affect the world positively or negatively. That's pretty much. So just think about it. I feel like you're okay doing what you're doing, just before you put it out there, you know, you don't want another country to close the doors or have a stereotype black man, and all the locals will be like, oh no, they're doing this, you know, because that could be a negative.
See, essentially what she's saying is that come with rings, or we kicking you out our country. You better come with a bunch of wedding rings, or we kicking you out the country.
You know, in the future for black men traveling. Just like
could-
Brazil closed the doors to you.
You see
They
that?
could start closing the doors.
Yep. We're gonna close
black
the
men
door.
like they did in
We're gonna
Dominican
close the
Republic
door
and
to your
so on.
race.
That's what I'm saying.
We're gonna close the door to your race.
Well,
We're gonna close the door to your race if y'all don't start coming with more rings and less condoms. That is what she's trying to pull, because she's sick of dudes coming with a box of magnums and no ring. She's sick of it. You hear this? What is it with y'all at MS-13? Did y'all do time? Did y'all do time? Like, why are y'all? I do not think about MS-13 ever. But I've never been locked up. Maybe I think about it then, but like I look up and I see MS-13. Like, what the hell? So yeah, this is her trying to manipulate rings out of me.
I think that from my understanding, the Dominican Republic makes a lot of money off tourism, so I don't know how smart that would be. But Kate is a tour guide because she's from Thailand. I'm not. So yes, I met her and I said, hey, can you show me around? And I'm going to put you on my YouTube channel as well. All these places we go, about 90% of them she came up with. That's why I call her the tour guide. It's just like if she came to Texas, I don't think she knows anything about Texas. And I show her around Dallas, I'm her tour guide, whether if it's a sheet of paper and it's a contract and, you know, that's my real job. I mean, somebody can be your barber without having a barber's license.
All right. Thanks, Sierra.
That's fair. All right. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Watch, talk, and act.
What's up, y'all? How you doing?
Doing
All right,
good.
I'm gonna do this guy, then I'm gonna go.
I'm all right. I don't have a problem with Austin and his message, but I will say to you, Austin, is just be careful how you're moving around these countries. And I think you probably would need to learn more about the social climate that's going on in the different countries that you're going to. And always understand this, because you are Black American, right?
I hate dudes like this. Somebody called him Beanie Siegel. Holy crap. Holy crap. Beanie Siegel is the only person I know of that that no matter how much money he got, always looked broke. Beanie Siegel always look broke. No matter how much Rockaware he wears, no matter what, he is a perpetually broke looking dude. Always. He just can't help it. That dude is a perpetually broke looking dude if I ever seen one. He can never look like he got money ever. He could never look like Kevin Samuels ever. That man is chronically broke looking. And he looked just like this dude. Oh, that was comedy. That was comedy. Okay.
You have no friends in these other countries. So you have to realize that there's always going to be a target on your back, whether you like it or not. So be very careful that what you're putting out there to other people in the world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Also, I want to say this. I don't have a problem with Austin, like I said, but it's the men who a lot of them are weak-minded and a lot of them are self-hating, specifically when...
Notice the but pattern. I don't have a problem with Austin at all, but it's the men who are weak-minded and self-hating. Now, we know where he's going with the self-hating thing, but let's entertain it for a second.
Dealing with black men, they're self-hating, and they'll talk about any other woman but a black woman. They'll talk down about a black woman in America specifically, and then they'll go to all these other countries to get away from anything that looks like black, and they're self-hating.
Except when they go to the countries where the women look like black. Black men they go to the countries to get away from the women that look like black. So they go to the countries where the women look like black. Yep. And I got what it takes to rock the mic.
And that's the problem that I have. You have sisters in Africa who look just like the black American woman, who are beautiful, who are willing to take a good husband who is serious about taking it to that next step in marriage. And I think it's very sad.
Why is it that Africa and America is the only place where black women exist? See, here's the thing, and everybody who knows me know, and if you don't know me and you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Everybody who knows me know I like, for me, a nice, I think, I can't say the word, habitsu, something like that. I like myself a good Eritrean, Ethiopian type woman. I do. I do. A lot. That's my favorite thing in the world. However, it is a lot longer, habitsa. It is a lot longer to travel there. It's a lot more expensive to travel there. And I just assume not go, especially since we have a strong population of that here. But never mind you where I choose to go. Never mind you that. It's not a matter of that. I am not obligated to give my penis to, do not dictate what my dick takes. If I want to travel to Finland and find myself a Nordic albino, that is my prerogative. Okay? I could do what I want to do. If I want to travel to Scotland and find myself a bunch of those like redheaded hobbit looking chicks, that is my prerogative. I do what I want to do. I am not obligated to you. If I want to go to Japan and find a woman who is like walking on a tree branch and sword fighting another woman with a samurai sword, that is my prerogative. Oh, these women nothing! And then they had the audacity to try to withhold the box? You are out your damn mind.
And that there's so much self-hatred in our own community, and they call themselves a passport bro. That's a problem. That's just the way I see it. So a lot of passport bros are traumatized men who really need to get themselves together emotionally and get out of
You're
whatever happened
traumatized
to them
men.
from other women.
No. See, that's the thing. No, it's trauma. I don't care. I don't care what it is. It's something I like to do. If I want to go to Russia and get myself a short-haired blonde Slavic chick and then step in the ring with an Italian dude and then say, I must break you. And then she say something in Russian and then I say, Abiyaga! Asti Biyaga! If I want to do that, that is my fucking prerogative. Hate dudes like this.
That jaded them. They need therapy and a lot of work. A lot of work. That's from what I'm seeing.
Austin, you want to comment to that?
Well, I'm not traumatized or whatever word.
Somebody said Stockholm syndrome. If I want to go to Stockholm and get a syndrome, that is my prerogative. You damn right.
You said traumatized, jaded,
Emotionally. Mm-hmm.
emotionally. I think I saved myself from that already.
Good. So that's all I wanted to say. But you men who call yourself passport bros, man up. Understand.
Oh my God. Oh my God. You have to man up. Watch where he is going with this.
A position at your position as a man and a woman's position. A woman is going to challenge you. Don't take that as a problem. Take it as
It is a problem. God damn it. What are you, a physics teacher? Like, it is a problem. Unnecessary challenges is a problem. There is supposed to be real life challenges. Press 1 in the chat room if you was a kid and you had kid challenges and you thought that these were the biggest problems life had to throw to you. And then you became an adult and then you had real problems. You got real challenges. There are real problems out there, and you don't have time to deal with the challenge of an unruly bitch. That is for damn sure. I got real problems. Man, I was stuck. Last year, I had like a huge problem at work. A huge challenge because no matter what I do, I was not getting the results that the company required. Like it was something with the system. I think it was on their end, but it just was not clicking right. These are real challenges. And the worst thing I need in a time like that is an unruly bitch at my side talking about, blizz, blazz, and ham and miscellaneous shit that I don't care about. I was spending like 20-hour days, on this one account. And you talking some crazy talk. She was literally talking about cracks on the hubcaps of the car. Like stuff like that. Listen, I do not have time for your challenges. I don't have time for you saying stuff like, you didn't wipe the stove when you got finished. Wipe the damn stove. I do not fuck your challenges. You know who has time and patience for unruly challenging bitches is niggas like you. Niggas that even if you got money, you're broke. People like you always are open for a challenge because you got time for crap like that. Why? Because you never too busy with life. You're never too busy with life. Sometimes you get busy with life and you don't want to get yelled at because the knob on the kitchen cabinet is off. But if you got an unruly bitch in your life, you know, you got to deal with that and deal with whatever life challenges you have on her time. I list my life's problems in order of urgency and priority. And I don't need you trying to make stuff more urgent than it has to be. Like I just now tended to because we got palm trees where I live, and this time of year, really last year, like late last year, the leaves start falling off and it becomes like a problem. Like you get these big ass palm tree leaves in your yard, and it's not like regular leaves that you rake. You actually have to pick it up, break it, and then put it into the bio waste bin for the people to come pick it up. Now that's a problem. That's something you have to tend to, but that's minor. That's minor, and I tend to it at my convenience. I take care of the real problems first, and then I take care of that at my convenience. Life is full of problems, and shout out to Jay-Z. 99 problems, but a bitch ain't one. He's saying that a bitch should be it. That she should be another 101, so now you got 200. Nope. Only you stupid enough for that.
Challenge and man up. That's all you got to do.
Said, man up.
Grow.
Watch talking at
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead, Austin. I'm sorry. I'll wait till you do. Go ahead.
Give me an example of a woman challenging a man.
Women have a tendency to test men, right? It could be a scenario where it could have to do with cleanliness, right? She may give you a little attitude. You may not like it, but you as a man consciously, you know you can't hit a woman, right? She may nag you and nag you. You can't.
Why did he say cleanliness? That's why you look broke. You telling me bitches are coming to you saying that you unclean? So if you flush his story out, basically women come to him and say, nigga, you not clean. And he want to smack him for it, but it's not legal. Dude, if you're not clean, your priorities is all messed up. That's like at the top of the to-do list. Hold on, I want to hear this again.
Women have a tendency to test men, right? It could be a scenario where it could have to do with cleanliness, right? She may give you a little attitude. You may not like it, but you as a man consciously, you know you can't hit a woman, right? She may nag you and nag you. You can't hit a woman, but it's your responsibility to learn self-control and learn how to work with her to grow out of that situation.
Okay. Actually, my mistake. When he said cleanliness, I thought he was talking about hygiene. But yes, I do get into it with chicks over cleaning of my surroundings. Cleaning of my surroundings. That is something I have to work on. And that is because my surroundings being clean is low on the priority list. Now, what do I mean about my own personal cleanliness? I'm not talking about I'm just like a nasty ass dude. I will say this. Right now on my desk, there are things that should not be there. There is a spool of dental floss, this right here, a cereal bowl, and an empty thing of Fig Newtons. That's it. That's the extent of my mess right now. And I will tend to this. I will tend to this, but I have this here video scheduled. I will tend to this. Last thing I need is an unruly bitch coming in here and saying, you know, oh, when you gonna pick up this Fig Newton thing? Bitch! If you see it here, if you see this Fig Newton can here, or tray, whatever you want to call it, if you see this Fig Newton container here and it's empty, then you take it and you put it in the garbage can. God damn it. I'll have no time for unruly bitches like that. But he's saying that, oh, that's a test. You should embrace it.
Why
Does
would
that
I
make
get
sense?
a dog that doesn't listen? Why would I get a dog that can't be? No matter
That's not
how
all the time.
Exactly.
Relationships take work, Austin.
I know that.
So you can't just throw something away just because they aren't doing what you say.
But what you're saying is, no matter how much I work on it, it's still going to challenge me in the same way that I'm working on it.
Always. That's what manhood is about.
So I'm not
Always.
going to deal with it. So I'm not going to deal with her. I mean, if
Hey,
I tell her to turn the shower off every day when she gets out, no matter, you're saying no matter how many times I tell her that, she gonna leave it on because women just test men like that.
well, if she does that, then she just purposely doing it.
Like, it's amazing what he feels is an acceptable relationship. A woman constantly testing you and you constantly trying to pass her test. Nobody want to deal with that crap.
You
That's
can't
what
help
said.
that. But
you just said that they're gonna test you.
You gotta think about it though. It's that's not realistic. Women aren't gonna always do that all the time. That's just unrealistic. But what I'm saying is, I want men to understand the value of a woman and why she is here and why men need to.
He do understand the value of a woman. See, men need to understand the value of women and the valuelessness of bitches. That's the thing. He do understand the value of a woman, and he understand that they're more valuable than bitches. That's why he goes to places and deal with cooperative women. Lion 917 says, if a man is making 75K and up, which is a challenge in itself, yes, this is true. You know, why would a man that wants to deal with a woman who does nothing but bring home more challenges? Exactly. Exactly. Some brothers are like one stressful ass day away from getting promoted. But she want to challenge him. You know, that's these and that's why these bitches be with such Benny Siegel looking niggas. Why? Because the real dudes, and by real dudes, this is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the guys who yeah, exactly, like Magic Johnson. You know, the professional athletes, for example. That's a challenge. It's a challenge to get into the NBA. You know, it's a challenge to. I can imagine how much pressure it is. I was never an athlete of any type. I'm a nerd, right? Was never an athlete of any type, but I did go to the games in high school, and in college, and I went to the games just for the girls and stuff, right? But I can imagine like the pressure that these dudes be under just in high school. You know, like everybody's staring at you. You know, the whole senior and junior class is just looking at you. Your team, you know, your team or your school, the other team's school, and everything. Everybody just staring at you while you try to concentrate and make a free throw. You have to have your mentals correct. Salute to all you athletic type dudes, right? You have to have your mentals correct in order to do that. And then last thing you need is a fucking unruly bitch in your life getting in your head all day. That is the last thing any man need. Imagine a dude who is like pre-med or pre-law or some crap like that. He got hard. I talked to a dude that was pre-med when I was in school. He was not pre-med but pre-law, right? And he what am I say? He said, this was a straight A student. He said, look, I never got grades like this in my life, in my whole life, because he's been a straight A dude all his life. So that stuff is hard. He has challenges already in life that he needs to meet. And the last thing he needs in his life, this was a Jewish dude, last thing he needs in his life is an unruly bitch. That is the last thing, unless you got nothing going on, that is the last thing any man needs in his life.
Be able to work with women. That's the issue that men are facing. A lot of men are weak-minded nowadays. It's sad. It's like they can't handle a little mouth from a woman. She may be saying something to help correct you. An
Ain't that
issue
a
within your
bitch?
relationship. Learn how to deal with her better.
So
It sounds good.
watch, talk,
sounds
and
good.
watch, talk, and act. Do you not think that he would not get the same disposition at times from the women in other cultures? Are you just saying, like, because he's outside the U.S., he won't?
Women are women. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
There are cultural differences. Some
Okay.
That's what makes them different. Stop saying like cultural differences is a small thing. Fucking ass clowns. That's like saying, you know, oh, cars is cars. No, like Mercedes and like German cars and California cars and stuff like that sell better than the stuff that come out of Detroit. It just do, because of the culture of the people that make it. Japanese cars sell better, you know, because of the culture of the people that make it. Now, culture is everything. If you export cultural objects, it is the difference. It's the difference between a Mercedes and a Dodge. It is the difference between a Hollywood movie and a Nollywood movie. Okay? It is by the way, any Nigerians listening, y'all movies are crap. Y'all movies are utter crap. I used to watch it with my ex. It's crap. It's too damn long, it's too damn religious, and it's too damn poorly written. It's crap. And culture affects your movies and make it crap. I would rather watch a telenovela not understanding what they are saying, just waiting for one person to slap another one. Wait, what's Nigerian Hollywood? No, Bollywood is Bollywood is India. Nollywood is Nigerian, but they're both utter crap. Japanese movies is the exact opposite of that. So the culture influence cultural products. I repeat, the culture influence cultural products. That is why ninjas are cool, samurais are cool, and anime is cool. And the only not cool thing that Japan makes is sumo wrestlers. I think it's stupid. Like, yeah, there's some slight cultural differences. Cultural differences are never slight. It defines the people.
cultures don't even allow a woman to look up. You have to wear a veil on your face. You know, it's just certain things. But what I'm saying is, specifically here in America, there's a lot of freedoms and concessions that we have over here that other countries don't, that they can only dream of. But some of us don't take advantage of it. Some of us don't do work. Many of us are traumatized through decades and decades of dysfunction, the loss.
Oh, God. Now, I know a lot of you are going to say pause, but we say pause too much in the Black community. But say it anyway. Why is a dude with this shape and this grooming saying to this man, you need to do the work? I repeat, why is a dude with this shape and this grooming saying to a man with this shape and this hairline, this crispy hairline, you need to do the work? Austin does more work than you by a long ass shot. And I'm not saying, listen, for all I know, you are like the CEO of Rockefeller Records. For all I know. But Austin, does do a lot of work, and he does do a lot of work on his physique and grooming than you do. By a wide ass margin.
A loss of morality in this country. There's hardly any morality. Everywhere you turn on, there's sex constantly being put in your face. Music, dirty music that we're listening to constantly that manipulates the subconscious mind.
He said Rockefeller burgers. I'm cheesy and the place to eat B is. He said Rockefeller burgers.
So are you saying that he can't be a man in Thailand?
He can be a man in Thailand, but is he really going to take those women seriously?
Yes. You take more attractive, more submissive, more docile women more seriously. Yes, you do. I take each and every single woman that flips and floats very, very serious. Okay, there's new people here. What do I mean by flip and float? A woman should be able to either flip or float when you throw them in the air, or if they jump off of something. They should be able to float a little bit, like Michael Jordan or a ballerina. They should float for a little bit before just popping down, or they should be able to flip like a gymnastic ninja. That is what a woman should do. I take those very seriously. A woman that flips and or floats, I take extremely seriously. I do not take a flop woman, a woman who flops if you throw them in the air, and you can't even throw them in the air unless you lift from your knees. I don't take those seriously.
Yes, because they allow me to be a man.
You're a man regardless. It's about where your mind's at. You're a man regardless.
You're a man regardless, but where are you allowed to be a man at?
I mean, just depends. America, you already.
Exactly. Ever notice how the men with the most submissive women tend to be like the greatest like warriors and stuff? Like they like if you ever look at like the warriors of all time, they always seem to have the most submissive like women. For example, you have the samurai and then you have the geisha. What is a geisha? A geisha is the women that walk around with the extremely tight dress and the things in her hair and the white face, and then it's too tight, they could barely move, so they take little steps. That is my pleasure. Yes, I'm gonna go to Japan and do that, and you dick police niggas can't say shit about it. That's right. Do what the fuck I want to do. So anyway, they get the geisha women, but they out on some samurai shit, and then and some ninja shit. And then you got like the Viet Cong. They got these like extremely submissive women and stuff like that. And then they have the men that just jump out of trees and stab Navy SEALs on the top of the skull and shit. Like that comes from the power of a submissive woman. God damn it. Trying to say you more of a man because you're dealing with unruly bitches and you're not dealing with shit else in the universe. See, it's stuff like that. It's stuff like that. Klingons are not real. You do not get a warrior when the counterpart is an unruly bitch. She has to be his complement, not his challenge. Michael Davis says, shout out to GC, you changing the game. Keep speaking the truth. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. I take them to bed seriously. Seriously hit it. Yeah.
No, America's not going to allow you to be a man. They want you already know the situation in America. America don't want you to be a man. We already know that.
Watch, talk, and act. You just confused me.
Yeah, because you're talking
No,
garbage.
America. What are we? Okay, and this is a whole different topic. But what are we constantly put? What's constantly pushed in our face? Homosexuality, right? You see a lot of these homes with fathers.
She dropped that nigga for stupid talk. He got sent to the penalty box for stupid talk. All right. So who said something I want to highlight? Some did. Some did. And some of them, you know, was on some me love you long time stuff just to get information to save their brothers and sons' lives. They would get information because the white boys and the brothers was just talking up something while they was getting a sucky. They like, yeah, I can't wait till tomorrow's raids. We really gonna get those Viet Cong. Tomorrow at 12:15 during the raid, we really gonna get them. And then we're gonna drop some mustard gas at these coordinates. They talking while they getting sucky. And then what does she do? She take it back to her brother and them. And like, this is what they gonna do. This is when they gonna do it. Why? Because I am a better woman. I'm a better woman, and I'm better than these unruly bitches of the world. He said they blew the coordinates out of him. All right.
So, Auston, are you wanting to have other callers? Or are you about ready to go?
You gonna take one more?
I can take one more. That one was funny though, because I think he was trolling.
Pull him back up just for a second. Let me make sure I'm understanding something. I'm sorry about that. Watch and talk. We listen. Let's make sure we understanding each other, because I think Auston has said to us numerous times that he left the United States because of pronouns, mistreatment, liberalism, and things of that nature, and he doesn't want to do any of it anymore. So where he is now, he's being the man, the leader, the person in authority, and he's allowed to do that. And the women he's dating are submissive. He's come across some that isn't, but still he's there and he's doing exactly what he wants to do. Is there?
Salute to the Vietnamese women of the time. Salute to them. Salute to them. There is no, that I know of in history, there is no greater ride or die chicks than the Vietnamese women of that time and era. Fuck you, the homies. Fuck you, Viking shield maidens. Fuck you, Greek Xena bitches. But salute to them.
An issue with that, or are you speaking to other men?
I don't have.
Okay.
Remember, I told you I have no issues with Auston at all.
Okay, I got
you have to understand. I have no issues, but it's the men who are running behind the quote unquote passport bro title that are really weak men. Some of them can't even handle no, I shouldn't say a strong woman, because I'm just saying a decent woman who
what the
challenges
hell?
them. Some of them can't handle them. And that.
So what if you can't? I don't want to. That's like somebody saying you can't handle a teaspoon of dog shit. Well, I don't know if I can. I do know I don't want to.
That's a problem, because they aren't willing to do work in relationships, not only in the relationship, but on themselves personally. They can't handle
this is a watch, talk, and act. This is a solution-based show. So what would you say a solution or something that you can put out there for the men that you feel fall into this category? What can we do to make sure our men are leaders and they're getting a good information? What can we say?
You have to learn how to unlearn behavior, specific behavior.
Oh my God.
You have to.
This Austin unlearned everything he learned in the Matrix. You haven't unlearned shit. Everything you know about relationship come from mama and them. What have you unlearned?
Re-educate yourself from everything that you learned from childhood on this continent, because everything that we've learned is a lie.
And that's why he's going to another continent to find the truth. You are an imbecile. You are a jackass.
You have to understand.
This man is every ungroomed, overweight black dude that exists. He's a super from PJs. He's Benny Siegel. He's Bookman from Good Times. He is all of these things. He's Rerun from What's Happening Now. He is everything. He's all of them in one. He's an amalgamation.
And the value of family structure. You have to understand how we relate, how we're supposed to relate one toward the other when it comes to male and female relationships. You have to understand
Watch Talk
the
and
spiritual aspects.
Listen, this conversation is going down another direction. But I appreciate your solutions, and you're exactly right. But we got several callers that came in.
No
and
problem.
Thank you so much, though, for coming up. Thank you. Austin, we got actually 4 more. We're gonna hurry up and do this. Listen, one more. Okay. Trey, come on up. Trey, how you doing tonight? You in that grocery store again?
Oh no, not this dude. Hold on, there's another dude I want y'all to see. But I guess Austin's not going to talk to him. He's going to talk to, hold on, there's one more dude. Because this is funny as hell. This dude right here.
Supportive. Austin was an awesome guest today. And I do have 2 young men that want to speak. Edward is 1 and 12. So Edward, come on up here.
All right. He is a DV victim. He is not a DV survivor. He has fresh wounds on his face from a right-handed woman. He does look a lot like Red from the First Friday. That's my grandmama chain. That is who he reminds me of. But listen to what he has to say.
Tell me what you think.
How you feeling today, security boss?
I'm outstanding. How about you?
I'm wonderful too. This show really lights my life. And again, I said it in the chat earlier. You're wearing yellow, but when SB wears it, it turns to gold. So,
he got game to the motherfucker.
I wanted to say some stuff.
He got game with like a motherfucker. Hey, ladies, let me know. Did that just moisten the thighs when he said that? Like, did he say, "Oh, you wearing yellow, but when you got it on, it's gold"? Like, did that just like, ooh? Was that just some like crispy mouthpiece type stuff? Like, did that just do it for you? And he had that in the chamber. He was waiting in the back to say that all day. Like, tell me, ladies, did you feel the like the smooth charisma just oozing off this dude? Oh,
I'm gonna dial it back. To my brothers in the chat, I expected a little bit. I see some comments. I think they're a bit. Well, I'll put it this way. I learned this. Men solve problems. Boys create them. So if you're not solving problems, I don't know what you're doing. I think that women of all races, of all colors.
I hope you're not going to say something like we should solve these bitches' problems. Because essentially what you're doing is you're creating a dynamic where women create problems for you to solve. I hope that that's not the case.
Shapes and sizes. They look to men, to us, for leadership, responsibility, tact, decision making, and wisdom. And it's hard to do that when you're in the chat talking about, well, what about the women? The women do this. What about this? What about that? You should be holding your composure. And to the brother who drives Uber in the car, well, I'm not sure what he does, but what he was referring to, because he might not have the experience, he's referring to, some people will refer to it as a ish test that women would do to test to see if you're still on point as a.
I'm testing them. I'm testing if this ish is stupid enough to give me an ish test. That is what I'm testing. I am not spending time and energy with an itch test itch. You got an itch test on your face right now. That itch tested the hell out of you. She tested if you could take a punch. This chick, man.
Like, for example, saying, let's just say I'm on a date with a young lady and I say I would like to eat the rice today. She says, I think you should get the salad. I'm gonna get you the salad. She wants to see, are you gonna stick to your decision or are you gonna go with what she wants to do?
What the hell? That is an ish test for real. I would think a chick is retarded. Like to do something like that. And to say something like that. Like, yes, I'll have the rice today. Oh no, he'll have the salad. Bitch! That's the end of that. That is the end of that. And that's how you got that eye. Because she told you, like, didn't I tell your ass to eat the salad? It's too much carbs. Didn't I? That is how you got the fresh one. That's how you got the fresh one. You got the fresh one because she told your ass that you're going to have a salad.
So that's similar to one of those tests. As far as passport bros, and I got to salute Austin, but I will say this. I looked up the young lady, one of the young ladies who was criticizing him on the show, and she's also from Texas as well. And I was looking at her Instagram because she was being demonized for the things that she was saying. And I saw that she's not a bad person, you know. She's
the chick that falsely accused Austin, the chick that committed slander and libus, like, you know what I mean. The literary version of slander. She's not a bad person. Is this her husband? Is this her husband, right? How much I want to bet that she's behind the camera with her fist in the air, just tell him that I'm not a bad person. Tell her. You remember last time? Remember that lip? Remember what I did to that bottom lip? Remember that shit? You remember that? Remember what I did to your hairline? Remember I smacked your ass so hard that your hairline went backer? You remember that shit? You better tell him. You better tell him what I tell you to say.
She's a good person. And I think that
she's a good person.
A lot of times us as men, when it comes to African American women, we don't understand the things that we went through. And we always say, I hear in the chat that
you see that hairline? That is the hairline of an abused man. When your hairline looks like that, it means that your hair is running away from the ass whooping that your face has been taking. Your face has been taking so many ass whoopings so long that your hairline is just backing up like, oh shit, I don't want to be a part of this. Your hairline is like slowly moving back because it don't want to be a part of the fray. Your hairline sees your face as a dangerous neighborhood, and it is moving up yonder. Somebody says scare line.
Says, oh, whenever black men, it's only when we do. Well, a lot of people that are not of our culture know our history better than we do. That's something that I found out as a researcher. And when you understand the things that were done to us, when you understand James Marion Sims, the father of gynecology, and the thing that he did to African American women, and the thing.
This nigga know the name of the godfather of gynecology. Wow. And this is what he thinks is going to get him pussy.
That continue to be done, the lab experiments, the medical experiments, the genetically modified food, the chemicals that are sprayed in the areas of Dallas and Houston and all these other places. You can see why our sisters would not be as readily submissive and feminine as they could be.
I don't care. And that's the problem. I care about results. And I hear all the stories too. And though I sympathize, I don't care. I don't care enough to surrender my penis to you. That's for damn sure. You know, like if somebody says that they got the 3 letters, the first one is H and the last one is V. The woman told me, like, I got it during a blood transfusion because, you know, my grandmother was about to pass, and for some reason the blood type skipped my mother, but it hit me, and you know, it was an emergency, and the doctor didn't have a chance to clean the needles or something like that, so I did it, and now I got the 3 letters. I'm like, oh wow, feel bad. Not bad enough to fuck you, but I feel bad. And that is what it is. Sympathy does not equal penis. It doesn't. It doesn't. Sympathy don't equal pussy. Why should it equal penis? Why should it equal penis? How often do men get to sympathize into some pussy? Dun 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 dun. My dog just died. Dun 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 dun. My ex-wife lied. Dun 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 dun. I'm on child support. Dun 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 dun. Right after I went to court, like they don't care. You can sing the blues all you want to.
Because they're usually left alone and abandoned, and they are naturally submissive. But you would have to go through experiences to be able to see that and be able to draw that out. And from my traveling, I've been traveling for 9 years now. I started, you know, about 24. So, and I'll say this, things that I've learned, you know, I've read books. I think a lot of it is failure to acknowledge communication skills and to develop communication skills and not understanding, you know, for example, I remember the brother Auston said, okay, let me back it up. He asked for a girl's number and she said no.
He is all
and
over
then
the place.
When he started to leave, she wanted to give her the number, or she wanted to give him the number.
Yeah, he asked her, and she's, yeah, instead of just saying yes, she said, "You look like someone that gets a lot of numbers."
And that's a compliment. That is a compliment,
but that's not getting him to his, you know, men are very solution based. So if I ask you for something, most of the time they just want what they want. They don't want to have a whole big conversation about it. And at that particular moment, he just wanted her number and she didn't comply. So, you know, that we can look at this several ways, but that could be, this is how this whole thing is going to be for the rest of my life if I continue with this woman. It could always be pushback, you know, but I really want to have your number, but I just don't want you to know I want your number. And some people are just not ready to play those games every day of their life.
She's speaking facts. She's speaking facts.
You know, they're just like, okay, I'll move on to the next. Some people consider that as.
Somebody said, did he just roll his eyes? Nah, that's a mini coma. This dude shifts in and out of consciousness between ass whoopings.
It's a sign that this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. So I kind of understand what he's saying, but I understand what you're saying too. Women do have a tendency to play those games and they want more from the man at the wrong time, maybe, or they just don't know men. You know, some men just don't, they just want to do this and I want your number, give it to me. If you don't do it, fine, I'm moving on.
Agreed.
That's
Well,
simple.
Why is he confused?
You know, I'd like money and not to have to work, you know?
Exactly. Exactly. And if somebody gave it to you, if you went somewhere and somebody you said, I want some money, somebody gave it to you, or they say, I got some, then they start asking you a bunch of questions. What you going to do? You're going to go on to the next instead of them just giving it to you. If they got to give it.
Mm-hmm.
But Edward, I feel like you have a lot you want to say today, and I got a few people back here that want to speak
so that's
too.
that.
So go ahead and tell me your last thought.
Okay, my last thought is, if I had a
nigga, your last thought is ouch. But go, let me hear.
So I have two things I'd like to say.
Okay.
If I had a,
you notice how he held up one finger and he said, "I got two things I want to say." That's what happens. That's them contusions. Like this man, his chick is beating the crap out of him. He got a big chick that is beating the crap out of him. I'm Breadman, upstairs, fifth floor. Like that's how you know. He think he has up two fingers. Watch this.
Go ahead and tell me your last thought.
Okay, my last thought is, if I had a, so I have two things I'd like to say.
You see that?
Okay.
If I had a chance to ask Auston one thing, it would be to say, how many other states besides Texas have you dealt with women from? To say that all of, or the majority of them are not cooperative. But what I would like to say is, men, when you are that dude, it don't matter where you are. I promise you. It's going to be some people that will be cooperative and submissive. And speaking from experience.
When you are that dude, and I am that dude, I mean, check out my hairline. You know, I'm that dude. You know, like, what the fuck? What in the entire fuck? This is classic.
Experience. I was ignoring the ones that, if we can think back, there were some ones that were paying us attention and maybe they didn't outrightly say, hey, I like you, I'd like to pursue a relationship with you, or I'd even like to just do what it do with you. But we have to pay attention to body language and subtleties and remember that we don't communicate the same or in the same way.
Exactly. Basically, she communicates by socking the shit out of you. And you communicate with words. Basically, you say, hey, would you like for me to remind you when it's 2:30? And she smacks the shit out of you, and that means yes. That is the mode of communication. Yeah, they communicate different, all right.
We have the same emotions, but we don't communicate them in the same way. And don't set yourself up for failure just because you didn't realize. So read, do the knowledge, study, and
you communicate by not ducking.
And get rid of that anger and bitterness because it's not going to do you any good anyway. So that's all I have to say. Thank you, Security Point. That's what I want to say. And I appreciate the show.
All right.
And shout out to Auston.
You have a good rest of the night, okay?
Thank you very much.
Sure. Bye-bye.
Oh crap. So I had to get that last one in. Cause dude, he reminded me so much of Red from the first Friday. You got knocked the fuck out. It's my bike, punk. That is classic. That is classic. My grandmama got me that chain. Oh wow, it's amazing. It's hard to even blame. He can't afford a steak. This dude got a bunch of ramen noodles. He got warm ramen noodles on his eye. Oh crap. It's deep. It's deep in the Black community. Like the indoctrination, the manipulation, the brainwashing and stuff. It is deep in these fellas that they think that they got to put up with this. I mean, these men got battered women syndrome. I swear, you know, it is that bad. Auston, shout out to Auston Holleman. In fact, I got to get in touch with him privately. So I'm gonna try to figure out how to do that, but not for a show or anything. But shout out to that dude for coming up with it is that bad. To see dudes behave like this, they are adapting to an extraordinarily bad environment, you know, because some people change the environment, some people shape the environment, some people change their environment, and some people adapt to the environment to which they live. That's just how it is. So if you're a bird and you find yourself being a vulture or a crow or just some other ugly ass bird, it's because you didn't have the wherewithal to fly to paradise and become a bird of paradise. You didn't have that in you. You seen the area that you lived in slowly turned into a desert and you became a desert eagle. That's on you. You're ugly as shit. Like there's peacocks and parakeets and stuff like that had the best idea. They out and they say, listen, I'm going to be a peacock. I'm going to get some peacock pussy. And I'm going to be in a place to where I don't have to like evolve long ass talons and shit like that just to find a mice lurking around the desert or some shit like that. Kudos to you. But anyway, with that, I'd like to thank the Cash Apps and Super Chats, managers and moderators, those who listen silently, and those who participate in the chat. I'd like to give a special thanks to all my members. And this is GameChanger 00100. Game over. Peace.